This is a sealed pool from the charity event that we held in Portland, Oregon at Lucky Lab Brewery at the end of January 2026. And for the event, we did progressive sealed. So progressive sealed is where you get a sealed pool of 6 booster packs to start building your deck with. And then at the end of each round, you get an additional booster pack that you open right away. And then you can use those cards to augment or change your deck depending on what your card pool is. So when I build a sealed pool, I know that some people like to just immediately get into sorting when they open the packs. I just want to do a quick look and see kind of like what's my like high value removal, high value bombs, larger like minion creatures are, it just so I have an idea about what I'm looking at, and then I'll move into kind of like sorting by elements to see kind of what the total element pools look like, and then start sorting out and building out my curve for the actual deck from there. So just taking a quick look at what I'm seeing here in the pack so far. We saw that the Renatus Trueblood, like vampire, is very good in limited, very good in constructed. They're just a threat that you have to deal with. That your opponent either has to deal with or it's going to win the game. Paladins of Bazia also like a good solid body. Like that's where you want to be with your beefier minions. You want them to have like 4 power and then do something. I pulled a Savior Avatar in my pool. And so if I have the creatures to support that, so if I have enough non-evil minions, it is probably worth building around the Savior to get that value. Looking at Gift of the Wolf there too, that would be another what I would consider high value, basically a removal spell. It's a combat trick, but in most cases, in sorcery, like a good combat trick that you can play on your turn will often end up being essentially being removal for you. It cycles, so you also get to draw a card, and it only costs 2. It does cost 2 Earth Threshold, so you have to kind of be an Earth and commit to being an Earth there at that point. But just keeping an eye out for those non-evil minions right now. I see a Penitent Knight, which is decent in curve. There's a Search Party. The Clay Golem could go into any deck. There's Paladins of Bazia, but they already come into play with a ward. So it's a little less important for the Savior ability. I get some Townfolk, and there are a couple playables that have shown up in air. At this point, I think the Screamer was pretty good, even though it's an evil minion. It's an undead. And I think I saw Bats in there. Bats pretty good. Smite, also another high value removal option. And if memory serves, we're a little light on removal options, so I'm kind of locked into Earth anyways. There's a second Penitent Knight. Helps fill out that non-evil minion curve for Savior. So just kind of like just looking at the spread of cards so far in the elemental pools, definitely gonna go Earth, and then it's a question of kind of what the other element is going to be. I saw some good stuff in water. We didn't get like all of the best water minions from Gothic in there. We saw some decent air cards. Saw a couple couple okay fire cards, but I think when we look at the fire pool, it's going to be easy to eliminate that right off the bat here. So this is like, there's a couple playables in there, but the pool is like so shallow. Like I think we're looking at like, what is that, 10 cards, 12 cards? Not all of them what you would consider playable. The Flame Strike is nice. While Fanatic is good with Savior, but there just doesn't look like there's enough meat in there to make it worth playing Fire. There was a Flare in there, even though that's an evil minion. Flare is its ability is pretty good in limited, especially Gothic limited. Especially, there's a lot of skeletons roaming around. We got a couple sites in there. They're not going to do a ton of work, but yeah, like definitely looking at this earth pool, like you can see right off the bat, like there's a decent like there's more than enough playable minions in there. And I think I see a Death Knight as well. So even if we have to start taking non-evil minions, if we can get some undeads, there's some additional synergy there. Entombed, not a great creature. I think I throw that one lower on the priority there. And like I said, like I was saying earlier when we were looking at the minion pool in Earth, I think there's 2 Penitent Knights in there. There's a Search Party that's already like 3 powers that are able to be warded by Savior. Which is nice. Instigator Imp is a nice kind of like a trick card in water. Estranged Loner, a very good card in water, especially with Savior, because you can ward the Estranged Loner. It's hard to deal with, and then when that gets removed, you summon the Horrible Hybrid from it. So just a lot of value there. Moss Troll. I think Moss Troll's a beast, so technically that would work with Savior. You could ward that. Mesmer Demon, not wardable, but still a good card. And so we got 2 Bone Spears in this pool of air, and I think 2 Bats. And that vampire, like I called out earlier, the vampire is a bomb. Like I say, it's very like your opponent has to deal with it, or like the vampire can just straight up win games if left unchecked. There were some other good cards in that air pool, and there's like. Water has a lot of very good stuff in it in Gothic. I just don't think I got enough of it to justify running that as my second color over air in this pool. So I think pretty quick you're going to see me pivot into an Earth Air Savior build. So kind of trying to prioritize enough of the non-evil minions, so I have my curve built out to where I get I can take advantage of that ability. And also worth noting here, I think like besides I think the Flame Strike that was in Fire, Earth has the only removal options that I pulled in this pool, really. We have a Get to the Wolf, we have a Smite, and I think that's it. I think Water had Abyssal Assault for 5, and that's kind of, it's conditional, right? Because you have to have monsters to be able to take advantage of it. But if I had enough monsters, that might be another reason why you might want to play Water instead. I think I'm leaning like pretty hard towards air, because I have a lot of decent playables in air. The pool was pretty robust, and I have that Renatus Trueblood. I think it's just worth running, just to be able to get the vampire in the deck. Earl the Ivory Tower is also pretty good in my opinion in limited. it's not immune to everything, right? But it's immune to anything ordinary, which is a big deal in limited, just because a lot of those cards are going to be like a lot of the cards that you're going to see played against you are going to be ordinaries. So there's a lot of potential value to be had there. Screamer also just good in general, right? It had like the ability the ability is pretty strong to push an enemy minion away. It could like give you a reposition. It could buy you another turn because it's going to take them a turn to kind of trudge back forward from the site they got pushed back to. There's a Murder of Crows. Murder of Crows, worth putting in there just as kind of like a tech card, and then you get some additional value about it because you can replay it from your graveyard, which is nice. I apologize for the quality of the video. For some reason, the quality of this video just seems like particularly bad. Again, we were filming, right? This was filmed at a local brewery, Lucky Lab, and when you film in like a game store or like a brewery like this, like in any sort of venue, you're kind of you're at the mercy of whatever the lighting conditions are there. And when we kind of started this event, it was rapidly becoming evening and dusk. So the sun was setting. The sun was setting, and we were already kind of like in this back room corner of the brewery. So the lighting was a little hit or miss in certain areas. So you can see what I'm doing. Like what I'm doing now is just like, yeah, I'm populating the curve in the minion curve in a Earth Air deck. I'm just doing a quick count here just to see if I'm on target for minions, and I think I am. I'm just like debating on like what else to add here. I think you saw I pulled out I had the Death Knight in there, and then I pulled it out. I didn't have enough. I didn't end up having enough undead in my opinion, to justify running it. It was better just to pull it out and get something else in there to fill out the curve. And like my spell selection in this sealed pool, I think, is a little low. Now you can see me, like, I'm just like pulling out like the water. I think I had at one point I briefly considered splashing water for 3 cards, mainly just to get the Estranged Loner. Everything else was like whatever, but I think I quickly decided that was a very bad idea. I had a lot of 2 threshold. I had a lot of 2 threshold cards, and then Paladins of Bowsy is like, it's like 3 threshold, which is it's pretty demanding if you're going to go into 3 colors, 3 elements. I think it starts becoming a little more precarious unless you have like a ton of threshold fixing, like unless you have like 6 blooms or something absurd like that. I think it starts becoming a little harder to justify doing that. I have a toolbox, which is really nice in limited, and just because like when you're playing limited, like your collection is not just I think it's not just 10 cards. Like your collection is like your entire sealed pool. So any card not used in your deck is what you can pull from for that. And I pulled at least 1 zap. So there's a zap in my collection, which is always really nice to have. It's just like an instant kind of I win, an easy way to close out the games And especially in limited play, I find that sometimes the gameplay peters out a little bit, and it becomes a little bit of a slap fight where you're trying to desperately figure out like how am I going to get the final strike on my opponent at death door first. And that's what a lot of these games can devolve into, just the game of hide and seek with both avatars at death's door. So I think it's pretty powerful, like, you know, it's powerful like in any format really, but like in limited especially, it's just nice to be able to have that option to close it out. I think I'm taking a final look through kind of the rest of my cards that didn't make the initial cut here, just to decide, just to make sure that like this is really what I want to do. I want to go earth, air, and I don't want to just to make sure that I don't want to like pivot into water more. And I think you see me just take out the water cards here fairly soon. Yeah, I mean, right now, like the deck is, it has a higher ratio of minions than I would typically run. Like I usually like to run 18 or 19 minions, and then 5 or 6 magic spells or other spells. And you see here, like I only have like 3 other spells, like magics and an artifact. That are worth running in this deck for the most part. I had those bone spears, which was really nice. I didn't have enough. I didn't have a high enough density of undead. I think I said that before, that I could justify running those bone spears. But having 2 bone spears there would have been really nice. Just if I had more skeleton generation, I think it would have been worth it. At this point, you can see me. I'm doing a threshold check on the deck just to see like kind of what the threshold composition is currently looking like, and it's about an even split. About an even split between earth, air. Might lean a little bit more towards earth just because I think I want to make sure I hit 3 to get the paladins out. Bats, I am running bats. It is a little tough with those 2 threshold. Renatus also 2, I think Earl also 2. So it is a thresholds are a concern here, and that's why I was saying like it's, I don't think it really makes sense to splash for a 3rd color. Like you would need a lot of threshold fixing in order to justify doing that, just because you don't want to get hung up early and mid game on your thresholds with the high requirements that some of these cards have. Like Gift of the Wolf, that's another 2 earth threshold that you need. Smite, another 2 earth threshold. There were just a lot of thresholds going on there. But if you just ran 2 colors, you could do 6 earth sites, 6 air sites, and I feel like that's a pretty good split. In the most part, for the most part. Clay Golem is in there right now. I think it's just because it's a generic. It's in the mix because it's a generic colorless, with the potential to ramp you a little bit when it dies with its death right. I don't think I end up playing it. I think I go back and kind of retool the minion options in the deck a little bit before we get going here. I'm gonna take out, like I said, I eventually end up taking out those 3 water cards, just because like there's only those 3 cards that are in contention for being run, and frankly I think I just end up taking them out, and there's something and to find some other sort of like playable or kind of playable card to put in there in its place. Like Hauntless Head, I think I put in Hauntless Head just because it costs 1. It's a spirit. I could play it on turn 2. Boundless Spirit, I think I consider adding that one. I don't remember if I do or not. I don't know if that one makes the cut. What else do I have there? The Vesper Storm. I think that one just makes the cut again. But again, like I'm saying, like it's like 2 air threshold to play that one out. But in limited, having a 4 power airborne body on the table just feels good when you get to that point in the game. And I think it's a demon, so you can't make use of the savior ability with that one. But I think like it is still just worth having it in there, especially because like I had the Deathclaw, the bird in there too, and the bird is just like a worse version of the Vesper Swarm. So might as well just have both if you're gonna have both. So here's a final look at kind of what the deck ended up being. I would have liked another maybe 1 or 2 1-drops, I think, and then I end up picking up another 1-drop or 2 along the way here with the progressive packs to add to it, and kind of smooth out this curve a little. But for the most part, I mean, I ended up with a lot of good playables that are able to be warded with Savior. And I think the goal of a Savior deck, and especially in limited, is to kind of win that value, win that attrition war in the game, and just kind of like have your pieces stick on the board just that little bit longer than your opponent, to kind of eke out a win here. I have undesirables in this deck. I think that ends up getting replaced at some point by something else. Something else comes along, but for now I put that in there. My only concerns with the deck, I think, like I was saying before, is that it is a little removal light. Like I have a Smite, I have a Gift to the Wolf, and that's it. It would be nice to have a Berry or a second Gift to the Wolf or Smite or something. But like I said, I went with this composition just because, like, you know, like I had enough things to make Savior work, and I think that's what I ended up, you know, and I decided to bank on the fact that, you know, Savior is pretty good if you can get those minions out more or less on curve with a ward and make better trades, and kind of just win the value attrition war that way. So that is the deck that I started out with, and we'll see how it performs in this series. I recorded all 4 rounds, and I follow just like I recorded all of my games. I usually just like to do table 1, so I get like different players on camera. But I think for this particular type of event, progressive sealed, it makes more sense to follow like a single deck, just so you can see like what the additions to the card pool, and any like additions like that, like tuning of the deck in between matches, ends up looking like. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time in round 1.